Hi, here's a fresh new addition to our MC Explained series. This investor education initiative is brought to you by Moneycontrol and Invesco Mutual Fund. So today, let's talk about the many kinds of SIPs. An SIP, or a systematic investment plan, has been one of the most revolutionary innovations to the mutual fund industry. Did you know that the concept of SIPs was introduced in India only in the early 90s? Prior to that, investors had to keep making lump sum investments, and each transaction was treated as an individual buy order. Naturally, a very cumbersome process. But the introduction of SIPs changed that. It allowed investors to issue a single set of instructions for multiple investments over pre-decided intervals, say every month or every fortnight as you please. As well, the ticket size was brought down to 500 rupees per SIP, and this allowed for the true democratization of financial savings. Now I'm sure that most of us are familiar with the basic concept of an SIP and how it works. But did you know that there was more than one kind of SIP? In fact, there are 6 kinds of SIPs which are today available in the market, and each of these 6 types of SIPs have been created to fulfill a certain need or requirement. The first is the regular SIP, which is offered by every fund house. Now, this basically means that you're investing a predefined amount at regular intervals and for a fixed period. For example, say I have decided to invest 5,000 rupees every month for a period of 1 year in a particular scheme. So, my predefined amount is 5,000, the regular interval I have chosen is monthly, and the investment is for a fixed period of 1 year. Now, this kind of investing inculcates discipline and provides the investor the advantage of rupee cost averaging. This means that over the period of your investment, your cost will get averaged out. So you will be allotted more units when the market is down and fewer units when the market rises. So over time, this will allow you to navigate the volatility in the market. You can use this kind of SIP for practically any kind of goals that you may have. A variation of this is the Perpetual SIP. This means that the amount will remain predefined along with the frequency of investment, but you will not define the tenure. So, if I continue the previous example, the amount will be 5,000 rupees and my frequency of investment will be monthly. But unlike the regular SIP where I had decided to invest for 1 year, here my money will keep getting invested till such time that I provide instructions to stop the SIP. So you don't need to continually keep renewing the SIP. It will continue with the initial instruction itself. This is ideal for younger investors or for those who haven't yet decided on their goals or they have an investable surplus. But one thing I want to caution about here is that this kind of investment will require regular monitoring so that you're on top of how your fund is performing. So don't just invest and forget. The next one I'm going to talk about is a very good option for those who have a targeted goal in mind. This is called the TopUp SIP or even the StepUp SIP, or you can call it an SIP booster. Now, what this option does is it increases the SIP amount either by a fixed amount or a percentage every 6 to 12 months. Now, you may ask why this could be relevant to you. Well, like me, if you too are in a salaried job, you know that your salary will increase the next year. Of course, the quantum may differ, but there is a general upward direction to our incomes year after year. So, a top-up SIP allows your investments to also keep pace with your salary and with inflation. Again, you don't have to keep giving fresh instructions every year. In fact, if you want to opt for a top-up SIP, you have to specify that request at the start of your investment process and not in between. Even the amount to be increased annually has to be specified at the start. So as of now, the only limitation of this product is that no changes are allowed midway. But because you're incrementally investing more each year, you will also be able to reach your goal faster. And for those who don't have the assurance of a regular income and therefore cannot commit to a prefixed increase in their investments, worry not. You can avail of the Flexi SIP, or what is called the Anytime SIP. Now, by its very name, it is flexible in nature. So this enables you to make changes in either the investment amount or even the date. So an investor with any sort of irregular money flow, either by way of income or by way of expenses, can just adjust their SIP amount based on their financial conditions. And that's not all. It gives savvier investors the options to take a more tactical call based on market conditions. So it allows you to either increase or decrease or even defer your investment based on where you think the market may be headed. Of course, needless to say, this option requires constant monitoring, so please select this option with care and be sure to stay on top of your investment. Next is the multi-SIP, or what is also called a combo SIP. Now this is for those who require ease and convenience of transactions. So a multi-SIP allows a person to invest in many or multiple schemes of the same fund house through a single SIP or transaction. So for you as an investor, it will feel like just a single SIP. But on the part of the fund house, once the money comes in, it will be bifurcated into the different schemes that you have chosen. Now, it definitely helps to reduce paperwork and is useful if multiple schemes of the same fund house are performing well. But be sure that you don't put all your eggs in just one basket. It definitely helps to diversify across schemes and fund houses too. But if you do have a particular requirement of more than one scheme in a particular AMC, then you will find this option very useful. The sixth option I want to mention is the trigger SIP. Now, as the name suggests, the investment is triggered based on various triggers, like say the change in the NAV of the scheme, or it can be linked to index levels, or even any sort of predefined formula that you may choose. Again, this is an option that only savvier investors should choose, and then too they must be very sure of how they are looking to define their trigger. There used to be another option of SIP linked to insurance, but the market regulator SEBI has now asked fund houses to discontinue that option. So finally, 6 SIP options are available to you as an investor so that you can prioritize your requirement and transact with these. I hope you found this information useful. Thanks very much for watching.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.